I guess we should just start with the breaking news. You're back in Dream Theater. So how did that all happen? What's the story? And I remember Jordan Rudess was out, I think about 2 weeks before the time of filming this, and he didn't say it outright, but we were just talking about some of the past few Dream Theater records, and like, oh, I'm curious what the next era of Dream Theater is going to be like, because the last few albums were quite different.
And he's probably like exploding inside.
Exactly, and all he told me was, well, get ready for the next era. I'm like, what does he mean? And then here you are. So how did that all happen?
It's been 13 years, and I think time heals all wounds, as the expression goes. It's been many, many years now of kind of rekindling my relationships with the guys, starting with John Petrucci. I don't know, maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago or so. We just reconnected. Our families, his wife and my wife were in a band together even before, we knew our wives.
Yeah.
Our kids have grown up together. My daughter and John Petrucci's daughter shared an apartment together in New York for the last 5 years.
Nice.
So, the families were still close. So John and I inevitably reconnected and on a personal level. And I guess really it really started to gain some traction during COVID lockdown, because I couldn't tour and Dream Theater couldn't tour. So John decided he wanted to do a solo album, and he asked me to play on it. So that was the first step, I guess, in this direction. So I played on John's solo album, and then a few months later, we did an LTE album with John and Jordan. So that brought 3 of us back together. And then the following year, I ended up doing John's solo tour, and our wives' bands were opening for us, so we had the wives out with us. And so it just seemed like it was all starting to come together on a personal level, and then the musical level as well. And then I think the final piece was me reconnecting with James LaBrie, because James and I hadn't spoken for over a decade. And, I went to see Dream Theater play in New York, I guess around 2022. And that was my first time seeing James in over a decade. Wow. And literally, I'm not exaggerating, within 5 seconds of seeing each other, it was hugs, kisses, and it was like any of the drama and bullshit that happened during all of those years of the split, it just melted away immediately. And, with James and I buddying up again, it kind of just, it began to seem like an inevitability. It wasn't ever, I don't think, in either of our plans to eventually reunite. In fact, if you would have asked me this 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have put money on it. But, with the developments of everything I just laid out for you, then it started to really feel like, maybe this is inevitable. It just seems like we're in the right place and the right time at the stages of our lives. All those years of Dream Theater, we were in our 20s and 30s and 40s, and now here we are, most of us in our 50s and some of the members in their 60s, and it just seems like, life is too short to not be with the people you love and play the music that is part of your life and your heart and soul. So here we are.
Yeah, I think we'd all commend you, the band, Mike Mangini, just the way the whole band went about the news and the transition was just done with the highest amount of class. Because, how many examples are there of bands just blowing up and this member saying whatever, and Mike's statement, your statement, and the way it was all handled was just like top notch.
I agree.
So,
it was nice to see something like this happen, with taking the high road and class and grace and dignity, and not, war of words and drama and BS. This was really handled so well, and I have to give Mike Mangini all the credit in the world for that, because it's not easy, being replaced. I can't imagine. So he handled it really well, and I guess the things he said were so classy and so I was really glad to see how well he took it, and because I was a little concerned about that, but it couldn't have come off any better.
Yeah. I think you and Mangini posted a photo at, I don't remember which show it was. I think it was a Dream Theater show. And I just remember seeing the comments being like, just everyone's so stoked that you guys got along, and it looked like you guys were both stoked for each other.
Well,
So,
I
it's
was
great.
friends with him before he even knew any of the guys in Dream Theater. You
Yeah.
know, he and I were friends in the 90s when he was
Yeah.
still playing in Extreme and stuff like that, and we would do clinics together and stuff. So, yeah, he's he's an old friend, and I could never get mad at the guy for taking the gig. I mean, how could you not? You
Yeah.
know, it was a great opportunity and a great gig. So it was nice when all those resentments and all that stuff melted away, because it was a tough couple of years in the start of the split.
Yeah. You were talking earlier this week just about like your role in the band. Even years ago, you would make the set lists, you were doing merch, bunch of other stuff. Do you think that's going to be like a challenge coming back into that, where I'm sure like new ways of doing things have been, or duties have been reassigned to different people, and it's probably going to be a learning curve?
Absolutely. I think that was the one discussion that John Petrucci and I had. We still to this point even haven't talked about business or money or finances or any of that.
Yeah.
It was all about, okay, we know we love each other, we know we want to play together again, but what is the new dynamic going to be? Because for all those first 25 years, John and I produced the albums together. We kind of led the band together. I was handling the bulk of the responsibilities and decisions making and things like that. And so when I left the band, I was very much a control freak. And then now the last 13 years or so, obviously they've had to redesign their inner structure and how they function and how they work. I think John produces the albums himself now. So it remains to be seen how the new old Dream Theater will function. But I think we're all older and wiser. When I left the band 13 years ago, I was a control freak. Absolutely, I'll be the first to admit it. And I think as time has gone on, I've loosened up on all that. All the bands I've done over the last 13 years, I've had to learn how to compromise, how to collaborate, how to let go of things. I've even had these hired gun gigs with Twisted and Avenged where I just play drums.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to find our feet in the new dynamic. I think there will be many areas that I hope I could regain some control, like writing the set lists was always a big one for me.
Yeah.
But then there's other areas that I'm more than happy to step away and not even be involved with. I'd be happy to not write any lyrics again, which is what I used to always write a lot of lyrics back in the day, but I'd be fine with not doing that. It's a lot of things, designing the artwork or the merchandise. There's things that you got to pick your battles, and I guess we'll find our feet.
Nice.
And see where everybody kind of fits into the structure of the new dynamic.
Yeah.